This revision video is looking at Christian beliefs about divorce and remarriage. Now, divorce has very much divided Christian opinion, because all Christians believe that marriage should be for life and it's a lifelong commitment, hence the vow till death do us part. But Christians do disagree when it comes to divorce. Some find it acceptable, some find it unacceptable. When it comes to the reasons that Christians would find divorce unacceptable, first we're going to look at the Roman Catholic Church. Now, they have strong views on this, as they see divorce as wrong. They look to the vows, where it says, till death do us part, and see marriage as a lifelong commitment. But not only that, but the vows you make between you and your partner, but also to God. And humans, we can't break those vows. Only God can, and that is through death. So they see the act of divorce as very sinful, and actually, it shouldn't be a thing. What they will say, though, is that if a couple do get divorced, then they should be supported. Even though they don't agree with it, they do agree that obviously people should be supported. But if you have been divorced, then you would not be able to take the Eucharist or Mass, and you would definitely not be able to get remarried. They feel very strongly about that, because they still recognise your first marriage in the eyes of God. So absolute no to remarriage. Roman Catholics do allow a couple to actually separate and live apart, but that's kind of with the view to trying to work and make the marriage reconcile, or obviously to live apart. But they would actually say that you should not enter into a sexual relationship during that time, because that would be seen as adultery, so you'd be committing a sin. Roman Catholics do believe in the idea of annulment. Now, that's where a marriage basically is annulled, wiped out, erased, as if it never happened. So basically it's void. This can happen if you enter into a marriage and there was a problem. For example, you didn't know that the person was already married, or you were forced into the marriage, it wasn't your own free choice. Then Roman Catholics would annul a marriage. Look at those Christians who would find divorce acceptable. Church of England Christians, Anglicans, will look at divorce and allow remarriage, because they again understand that relationships break down, they don't always work out. However, when it comes to remarriage, it is very much the opinion and choice of the vicar who would be taking the wedding, the next wedding, as to whether or not it should be allowed. So basically they would look at the reasons why the first marriage of the person didn't work out, and if they feel that they did everything they could to make that marriage work, then they would allow them to get married again. However, if they feel that they didn't try hard enough to make the marriage work, then they wouldn't allow them to get married again, because they don't feel that they've given the first marriage a fair shot, and they haven't actually respected what marriage is all about. Now let's look at the Bible here and see what the Bible says when it comes to obviously divorce. Now if we look in Matthew's Gospel, you've got a very long quote here which you would never need to repeat. It's just the meaning that you need to know. And basically that is that divorce is only allowed if a person's wife has been unfaithful to him. So there are no reasons to divorce unless it is for unfaithfulness. But in Mark's Gospel, quite a contrasting quote here, it basically just says divorce is not allowed under any circumstances at all. So there is a bit of contradiction within the Bible itself and the two accounts of Jesus here as to what is allowed or not allowed when it comes to divorce. So a bit confusing, but obviously mean that for some Christians divorce can be acceptable. For other Christians it's absolutely not acceptable. They would definitely use those two quotes to back up their view and their decision when it comes to divorce.